What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everyone across the multiverse and the quantum realm? My name is Anthony Sims, and this is Closet Content. And we just clap it up here. It's for all the fans out there. We really do it. We do it for all of you. And today I have a very, very special guest, multifaceted, Jill of all trades, Sam Fox. Give it up for Sam. Let's go. Let's go.
What's up?
I'm chilling, and definitely thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule to do this. So,
For sure, of course.
I'm glad we got to talk about this too, because you were like, yo, I want to get on there. And I was like, yes, like if anybody who I feel like should be on here, who has a lot of things to say, it's definitely you. So
Thank you. I was really looking forward to coming on here and talking.
all positive stuff too. So before we get into who you are, you just celebrated a 30th birthday too. So happy 30th birthday.
Thank you.
How do you feel being 30?
How do I feel being 30? Well, I feel really grown up, but at the same time, I feel like my life is kind of just starting.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
it's just like, I don't know. I kind of like to stay in the present moment. So obviously thinking about becoming 30, it's like there's the comments, oh you're hitting
old.
the big 3.
Yeah.
Oh, you're getting old. And it's just like, I'm here. So
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Okay. Like
Yeah.
I feel more like wiser, more empowered. I feel like every year I just get,
Yes.
become a better me. And that's
how it should be.
that's the goal.
Yes.
So,
Thanks. See,
I'm all right being 30.
I feel like when we're younger, people always be like, "Oh, you're turning 30." And it's like, no, that's the goal.
Like being excited about like just still being alive. It's kind of
It's
like,
great.
It's a blessing. It's a gift. And yeah, I'm not about that mindset of like, if you don't stop moving and you take care of your body, like
It's just age is a number.
yeah, it's a mindset.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Honestly.
Today, what we're here to talk about today, what was it? Mindfulness and judgment, right?
Yeah.
You reached out, you said you wanted to talk about this, and I thought to myself, that's a really good topic. I think you have, from some of the things we just talked about, I think you have a real good head on your shoulders, not to sound like I'm 56 years old. But
No, it's okay. It's
I think the way you were articulating some things, I was like, damn, I definitely want to do this. So today's episode is mindfulness and judgment. But before we get into that, like I said before, you do a lot. Like a lot. I did a lot.
to be busy.
You do a lot. You're very busy. So I'm going to ask you or jump into a few things that you do. If you want to touch on a few of them, as much detail as whatever you're comfortable with is fine with me. Is that cool?
Yep.
All right, perfect. So you're an avid weightlifter, and you compete in strongman competitions too. So what's up with that? Like, how did you get started with like that?
I've always been pretty athletic. Ever since I was younger, I played pretty much every sport possible. Volleyball and lacrosse in high school, not very, very long. But then I just kind of rolled into getting in the gym, and I just wanted more and more.
Yeah. And
the more knowledge I gained in the fitness world, the more curious I got, and the more curious I became. Well, you got to act on that. So I just kind of got bored with what I was doing, and I like structure. Human beings are like creatures of habit.
Yep.
And I just know that I'm capable of doing really hard things
Yep.
because I love to learn. So I was actually hurt. I tore my anterior fibular ligament on the outside of my ankle.
That's when you were in a boot, right?
I had like a boot on my foot for a good 3-4 months, and I started swimming. But what made it kind of the worst mental thing for me ever was it happened after I had COVID over New Year's into my birthday, and it was the first day back in the gym.
Ooh.
So I pretty much went as hard as possible, and that was 3 years ago, and got myself hurt, ignored it for a month, put heels on later that night.
Ooh.
And not smart, because it was at risk of shattering my heel. So I accepted it. I came to terms with the fact that you can't do what you want to do. So either, like bob and weave and like get with adapt and figure out a way to adapt, or you're not going to get better, and then you could have the possibility of not being able to lift the way that you want to at all. So I got with a swim coach. I found somebody, actually Rachel Evans at the Hack.
Yep.
She was like somebody who made me feel like she could really help me modify things. So I started with her. And then I started volunteering on Fitness Friday with Eric Neal for an hour every Friday. And we just got on the topic of lifting, and he does strongman. So he was like, why don't you come try it when you're better? So I did. And then I've been doing strongman for a while, and I really like it. And
You're good at it.
yeah, I mean, I guess you could say I caught on pretty quick.
Yeah.
I love to read. I'm like a curious being. I ask a ton of questions, and I'm not ashamed of it. If somebody doesn't want to answer all my questions, well, you can let me know. Yeah. So, I mean, I've been doing it for a year and a half, almost 2 years. I'm training for a competition at the end of March right now.
You just had one too recently.
And then I just had that was my first powerlifting competition, actually.
You placed, right?
I placed second.
Which is great.
Yeah. I slept like crap the night before, and I was nervous as heck, but at the same time, I was also really excited because it's just like, you're doing this. You just competed 4 weeks ago in strongman, and now you're just going to see what your body is capable of within reason. I take care of myself pretty well.
Yeah.
So, so we just did it, and I like it too. So we're just going to interchangeably see what happens.
Yeah.
So,
That's what's up. So on the topic of taking care of yourself, strongman and weightlifting, powerlifting, if you was not the only thing you do, you also are pretty well versed in yoga. You're a yoga instructor, right?
Yes.
So let's talk about the yoga thing real quick, if you don't mind.
So I began yoga probably about 6-7 years ago when I needed structure in the morning. And I felt just like completely dysregulated when I would wake up. I just felt like my system was not okay. And I wanted to figure out how I could just start doing something to make me like feel level and grounded for the rest of the day. So I just started dabbling on YouTube, looking at yoga, and then I eventually hopped into a studio, and I was so nervous. I thought everyone was going to judge me. I thought like, I have no clue what I'm doing. I didn't know how to breathe. And you know, when you just put yourself in something, well, it turns out it's actually very, very good for my system, and I enjoy it so much. I get lost like in my own little present world, and that's kind of what you want to do because you tune in with yourself and you learn how to do that with your breath and movement. So I decided to take YTT at Truly Yoga last year, and it was like a 5-month thing. I was doing it for like Thursday nights, 5 hours at a time, and
5 hours a night?
Yeah. Well, yeah. It was actually like 7 to 10. Yeah. Well, so 3 sometime, and then it would be on the weekend, and yeah, it was a lot. It was like every other Saturday and then Thursday nights for a long period. But either way, I'm glad I did it. It was hard to do all that moving around and learning at that hour, but honestly, I'm better for it. I'm well versed in my body and being able to determine where other people struggle in their bodies. And so I volunteer and teach special needs yoga.
Yes, that's
I've
so
done
cool.
that at the University of Delaware. And then I have one-on-one clients. But recently I've kind of had to take a little hiatus because I moved and just a lot of like life things going on. But I am hoping in 2024 to get into a studio and just learn how to balance out the two with yoga and then my other job.
I'll definitely hope you do. That's lit. You, again, I only talk about 2 things. And it's already like a lot of stuff that you've done. So, you know, you mentioned the special needs yoga. So you do a lot for, you know, I don't call it charity, you know, just for your community, which I think is amazing. I love when people do that. So I know you're down with, was it Project Comfort, right? So what is that all about?
So Project Comfort is a nonprofit. It's now in the system as of this year, founded by Helena Rodriguez, who I met through my friend Amanda Torres, which is
Yaxier's wife. Yup. Shout out to them.
Yeah.
So.
Shout out to y'all. I love you.
We love y'all.
And we love Esco.
Shout out to Esco too.
For real.
Yeah.
But so somehow Helena and I, we like, she brought up the volunteer idea somehow. I don't know how. We all would hang out and there were like in J groups and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I like volunteering around the holidays. I always have, just because I always gravitated toward that and my grandparents, and that's just how I've always been. I really like helping people. I think that instead of gossiping around the table and sitting in people's negative energy,
Let's go help people.
yeah, like just go help people.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, because that doesn't do anything for anyone. So I started out doing that with Helena about 4 years ago, I want to say now. And so it's basically a blanket. We get a whole bunch of plush blankets.
So you how those blankets.
Yeah.
Yes, I
So-
remember this.
A whole bunch of like plush blankets are donated. You go to Marshall's. We would get some from Kohl's.
Yep. Ross.
Costco, literally anywhere that just a nice big plush blanket. And then we would have a packing event where you sort through all the blankets. And then obviously there would have to be like tissue paper and gift bags for that. And then we'd have a Christmas card making type of thing. So last year we had the Foot Locker space in the mall,
Yeah.
and then we decorated that. But this year we ended up just the Journey Church actually let us like use that space.
Yep.
And Helena has just honestly, Helena is such a good human being, and she has gotten so many people involved the last few years doing this with her. We've been able to just the community that helps us with this with Project Comfort. We can't thank like them enough, because without them there would be we couldn't go to nursing homes and like make the residents feel a little less lonely.
How many blankets did y'all get together this year? Wasn't it like 1,000? It was a few thousand, wasn't it?
1,700.
1,700.
Yeah, it was like 13 nursing homes, 1,700. There was a segment on NBC 10 that actually released with Tim Furlong, and that was he interviewed Helena at the Newark nursing home, and honestly, she looks pretty great on camera, and there's just so much awareness now being spread for Project Comfort. So you can follow the Project Comfort page on Facebook. There's an Instagram at Project Comfort. It would mean the world. And
Yeah, go follow them right now.
You heard it, man.
Or I'm a snap. And y'all don't want that.
Not like this.
Yeah, not like this neither. And then just a jump to another thing that you do. This is your actual job. You're a business development coordinator. That's your actual. You do that like not Monday through Friday, I guess, right?
Well, so it's a hybrid position, but it's pretty much it's 30 hours a week, and I do that, and then take care of my grandmother as well, and then the yoga stuff in between and all that. Noise. So with this job, I started this about 5-6 months ago, and it was kind of just an opportunity that was brought to my doorstep, and I had never thought to even go in the AEC industry, but it was just kind of like a why not.
Yeah.
I was a behavioral health tech before, like helping implement behavioral plans with kids on the spectrum. But something just wasn't really aligning, and as much as I love kids and I still am involved in the special needs realm, I don't know. I can feel kids, what they need a lot, and they gravitate toward me a lot, and that's amazing. It's very hard for me to sit back and kind of
watch.
Like just watch all of the things that are going on, and they're just so innocent and they're so smart, and they're not stimulated enough, and it's just a whole thing. And I feel like I use my education with behavioral science in a sense to heal myself. But at the same time, I wanted to understand why people are the way that they are, and why we do what we do, and what's healthy and what's not. But so once I transitioned into this realm as a business development coordinator, well, I go to networking events, and I represent, well, let me back up for a minute. So Sadie, the company that I work for is called Built with Made. That's
Built with Made.
Yeah, that's a women-owned. So Sadie Maney, who I actually went to daycare with as a child.
Small world.
I know, right? It's crazy. She actually started this company by herself. So we're Made is like we do business consulting. So like strategic planning,
all the fun stuff,
partnerships. Like I'm a business development consultant under her, and we basically work in healthcare, higher education, and life sciences. So we're able to match make essentially people like architects and engineers, which is awesome because I get to see some very cool buildings. Like pretty cool.
Yeah, mind blowing.
It's rewarding, very much so. And I'm exposed to all these different personalities, and I have to have the ability to communicate with all of them and understand the lingo. And this is a totally different industry for me, but it just felt in alignment. So I was like, yeah, let's
do it.
go. Let's
Yeah.
do it. I basically work more so in healthcare. My goal is to get healthcare projects essentially, but life sciences also, higher ed, not so much, but it's just a very broad but it's very interesting, and I get to meet a lot of different people every day, and that's where it's been challenging because now I've been exposed to other different personalities. So it forces me to have to be more self-aware.
Yeah.
With myself and with others at the same time. So it's been a challenge, but a good challenge because it forces me, I don't want to say to grow up even more, but just to deal with, like, to become more well-rounded at the same time.
This is good. I'm glad we're talking about this. Then, I know we'll get to the main subject in a second, and just to round out some of the things. You mentioned your grandmother, and I have here your sister, daughter, granddaughter, and a cat whisperer. You are. Like you, I can feel the love you have for your grandmother. Not to get too into your relationship with her, but where did that stem from? Because you always posting her, always showing her stuff. You know what I mean? Getting into socks and stuff. Where did that come from?
Well, so to be honest, I'm pretty much like an open person. I've learned how to have the ability to keep boundaries with people who want to, literally, it's not beef, it's boundaries.
Boundaries are so important.
Seriously, because a lot of people who are open about their stuff, others who want to manipulate or see it as a weakness.
Yeah, they want to pinpoint that.
They'll try and use that information when someone's being open, and it's just like, no. If you know where your boundaries stand and you are firm in your identity, nobody can take that from you. So
I like that.
With that being said, the reason why I'm so close with my grandma is because, well, number one, I've always been close with my grandparents. It's just always been a thing. My grandfather passed away about 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And they were married for like 70 years.
Crazy.
Actually, 70 years. I have videos of them even talking about how they met in high school. It's pretty precious. Like, they grew up in Philadelphia. I literally found I found my grandfather. Like, my papa went to Drexel, and that's what's crazy.
Go Dragons.
For real.
Yeah.
He's a mechanical engineer. And what's crazy is with this job that I have, this recent job in business development, a lot of the engineers I work with, literally one of our clients, they all went to Drexel. Yeah. And it's just like those little signs.
Because I went to Drexel.
Yeah, and my grandparents, well, they've just always been there for me. And I lived with them a year after I graduated high school. And then from then, I was pretty much just over their house constantly. Or we just, I talked to them 3 times a day, literally. More so my grandmother and I, the day that he actually got hurt I actually talked to him on the phone that day, which is, again, weird signs and things that I look back at. But so I've gotten even closer with my grandmother after he passed away. Of course. Just because there's really, and I don't want to sound like any type of way. My grandmother is very important to me. She's we are very good friends at the same time. Yeah. She's 94 years old, and I have learned so much from her, and she learned stuff from me. And we don't always get along, but there's an age difference. Of course. And so it's just I don't know, family, loyalty. My view, I feel with your elders,
gotta respect them, man.
We're supposed to.
You got to.
There's things that we're supposed to do. Yeah. And I feel from my experience, this country has lost sight of it, and I think it's just very unfortunate because, my grandma, she's not nice all the time. Yeah. She's not, but it's forced me to have to dive deeper into myself and to become more self-aware. So when my pop-up wasn't here anymore, I felt the need to step up more. Yeah. And that's just what I've done, and that's what I will continue to do. And, it's just who gets to have their grandmother at 94 still be around and still lucid sometimes, because she does have dementia. But after losing a husband like that and, a lot of changes going on and seasonal changes, and she ended up getting hurt and I had to be by her side. I had to stop my job and
take care of her.
I was the hospital knew who I was when I walked in the door. I'm not even kidding. But I also had a lot of friends like on the floors, like Bree Morris, literally. She was a familiar face in the hospital, and it's just like she saw a different side of me, like stressed out with my grandma, and I've known her for a while, and it's the same with my grandma. Like my grandma, she has her moments, and it's just like I give her that because nobody, like, we're humans, so it's just that's just how it is. My grandma matters to me like more than anything, and I just think, it's just that's just it is that way because that's just
How it should be.
how it's been, how it should be. Yeah.
I like that.
So,
And the last thing before we get into the bread and butter of everything, you talked and you brought up your faith, and I read everyone's captions. You know what I mean? Like when they post something, because like you put that there somewhere, I'm reading. I know you put some verses in your caption. So how important is faith? Because it sounds like family is very important. So how important is faith to you and to your family?
well, so to be honest, I was kind of the black sheep in my family.
Really?
I've always been, I kind of want to like take pride in the fact that I feel like I've really worked on undoing a lot of generational trauma.
Yep.
And a lot of stuff that has been passed down. And to be honest, I have been shown everything to not believe, to not have any faith at all. And I by no means I don't like to push my faith on anybody. I simply like to lead by example because I know what works for me. And when my world was turned upside down and I had no clue, like when I lost my pup up, even years before that, when there was just things pointing me in the direction of like faith, like that this is what I need. It was just too, I literally had 5 years ago, I had a pastor tell me that I had 6 months to live in front of an entire church because I wanted to leave halfway through.
Damn.
Even though I let this man know that this was my first time back in, and I was just trying to be supportive of a family member in their journey. And that still didn't keep me away. And it's just, even though I'm the person that's kind of had to lead by example with my family, it's done nothing but good for me. Like, my faith is probably what keeps me the most grounded, and I know it is, because it's just like with all the things that have happened in the past few years, like good and bad, I owe it all to my faith.
Yeah.
And that's just what I feel to my core. And I think everybody should do what works for them. But if anybody were to ask me any questions about my faith, I'm an open book again, because it's like I like to lead by example, and my intentions are always pure.
Yeah.
Like they are. I always intentionally try to do like the right thing. Doesn't mean I won't rip somebody a new one, because I surely will.
And we'll watch and we'll love it.
Yeah, but so it's just like I kind of have walked alone in that role, but as I've gotten older, family is kind of like my brother. He takes my little sister to church a lot, and they go together, and it's done good for them. And I think everybody should find just the place that they want to be, whether it's like they have their own little practice or whether it's a spiritual thing, because I also believe in energies.
Yep.
So I try to keep them separate at the same time. And I've figured out how to do that because that's what works for me. So I will, continue to ride my faith wave, because I feel like my purpose, like on this earth, is to lead by example and just try to be like a better person. And, I don't know, make people like take a double take or something. I don't know.
Look inward. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
There's a quote. Leading by example is so important. There's a quote by Zig Ziglar, and I think it goes, "You get exactly what you want out of life when you help other people get what they want." And I definitely feel like some of the things you're saying align with that, because it's not all about trying to convince someone to do this or that, but it's also like showing them like there's a way, there's a method to the madness. There's the reason. You all have to find like our reason. So yeah,
and I don't think like life is full of sunshine and rainbows.
No.
And I'm not like saying like, oh, we got to go do all this good when like the people are horrible.
Yeah,
Again, have boundaries. Again, know
Please
your
have
limits. Boundaries. Again, like know your limits and where you can help and where you can't. Don't be codependent. Don't do good things for people because you want reciprocity.
Yeah.
Like there's a difference. So it's just like, I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah,
You came through on
boundaries.
10. You came through on 10, and I appreciate it. Talk about mindfulness and judgment. You know, I kind of steered the way for that first half. And the second half, I'm going to, just throwing things out there for you, and however you want to, address them, take care of that. But